Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video. I wanted to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on, is the military collecting hobby, is it starting to come to an end? Maybe not completely, but is it kind of winding down? Just some things, I've noticed over the past several months or year or so. Um, People just don't seem to be buying like they used to. I don't know if it's because of, inflation or the cost of living, or maybe people are just waiting to save their money for more special items to add to their collection. But it just doesn't seem like people are buying like they used to. Things have kind of maybe taken a different direction. Because, whenever I attend shows and stuff, I kind of, look around and see what people are buying. I'm just curious. Are they walking out of a military show with one item? Do they have their arms full? Do they have a wagon full of stuff? And from what I've seen, it just seems like people aren't, buying in quantity like they used to. Maybe it's more they're buying in quality now. But you know, again, the cost of living, we know, and the inflation, the prices of everything in general is up. Things seem to be coming down a little bit. Hopefully, things will start coming down later this year, more than we see now, and into next year. Fingers crossed. But I just think about the younger collectors, the younger people who might want to get into this hobby but feel like they can't because they don't have money to buy an M1 helmet or a rifle they want or a nice uniform and stuff because of the prices and everything. And so maybe that discourages them from even wanting to collect military stuff. Even people maybe in their 20s or 30s or even older than that want to start collecting, but they just maybe they look online at asking prices. They go to shows just kind of testing the waters to see how much it would cost to get into the hobby of collecting military stuff. Maybe they get discouraged. I make these videos to do my part to encourage people to collect, to keep this going for the younger generation to be excited and want to continue, preserving history and stuff, So that's why I make these videos to show how fun it is and exciting and rewarding to collect and everything. And it would just bother me to think or know that, we might be getting to the end of a lot of these things. Again, I'm not saying completely forever. Nobody will ever collect military stuff again. It just seems like maybe there's too many other hobbies out there in the world for people to get into besides preserving history. I was just thinking, again, with younger people or other people who don't already collect, wanting to get into the hobby, they see the price of stuff and everything. And I just think about, collectors as of now, current collectors who, maybe have an overabundance of stuff. Maybe they have just a ton of stuff, in their house, their attic, their basement, in storage buildings or whatever. And, honestly, I've gotten to where I think, like, what's the point of hoarding up a bunch of stuff? Like, honestly, it doesn't make any sense to do that. It just doesn't. I mean, if we claim to be collectors and yet we've got attics full of stuff in boxes and piled up everywhere, or basements, or we have to rent storage units every month and pay a fee to house our collection, really it's not collecting, it's hoarding. There is a difference between collecting and hoarding, and a lot of people don't realize it, but they're actually just hoarding the stuff. Real collectors, for the most part, I believe, would want to display the items they collect and bring them into the light and, be able to show them off in pictures or make YouTube videos or whatever and share them with others and help preserve and honor the memory of that soldier or those that served or keep history alive. But realistically, though, by having just a bunch of stuff hoarded up, I mean, I don't really view that as keeping history alive. In a way, I guess it could be, but it's not really collecting, it's hoarding, And so I myself, I've even started selling a lot of stuff. I've got some pretty close friends. They've started, thinning out their collection because what's the point of just having just so much stuff? It's not collecting if it's hoarded up and stuff you haven't seen in months or even years. I mean, that's not collecting. That's just holding on to it just because. Now, I know sometimes people might be in the middle of maybe jobs or they're about to move or different things and they have to temporarily store it for maybe a few months or something. That's understandable. But if it's been years and stuff and the stuff hasn't seen the light of day, that's the same thing that family members do with items that of their family members who served it, it's in their attic or it's in their basement or their storage shed behind the house. That's where they have it stored. But us collectors who are fortunate enough to maybe get it from the family, we should be more encouraged to bring it into the light, to revive it, I guess you could say, and show people and give honor to that veteran stuff. If all we're going to do is get it from the family, from their attic, and put it in our attic, that's not collecting. It's just holding on to stuff. Maybe it's filling a void in somebody's life, So I just think about stuff like that, And again, I mentioned moving and stuff, temporarily storing stuff. I understand all that, but if collectors or people just hoard stuff up, then that makes it harder for people to find the stuff, that want to get into the hobby. And so I just think about stuff like that, and I think a lot of you probably think that way, or maybe you should start thinking that way. I'm getting close to 40 years old. I'm still considered young, but I even think, if I am collecting another 20 or 30 years, like the way I was going, just buying so much stuff, what would my collection look like? Would I be a hoarder? Would I just have a bunch of stuff that if I died, my wife and kids would have a problem going through it all and sorting out and figuring out what to do with it? Or would it be better, now to start kind of being more picky and choosy and I guess conservative with what I buy and how I spend my money, and be able to display stuff, for the most part, that I collect and everything, so it can be seen, it can be shared and everything. I know a lot of people are concerned again about, the economy, and there's a lot of politics and stuff involved. But I just pray that things will get better. All we can do is pray and everything, and just put it in God's hands. He's got it all worked out for us. But I know a lot of us, sometimes when we do sell stuff, most people want to make some kind of a profit. You don't always have to make a killing, honestly. If you can just make a little bit of money, or sometimes if stuff hasn't sold in a while, you might just need to mark the price down and break even on it, or maybe take a little bit of a loss. What's $5, $10, $15 of a loss, just so somebody else can have a chance to enjoy that item. Maybe it's something they're missing in their collection, or again, it could be that very first item that a new person into the hobby, that could really set them off and get a fire lit underneath them to where they want to go and get crazy excited with collecting and stuff. And so again, I've started selling some stuff. I don't know if a lot of people are just kind of waiting to see how the rest of this year goes and into the next year, but I just, again, wonder about like attendance at military shows and gun shows and stuff. What does that look like? I've had people say that attendance is down in a lot of the shows they go to. I've had friends that have set up at military shows and nothing really sells. And it's not that their prices were too high. It's just people just don't seem to be buying like they used to and everything. But I just don't want to think, that a lot of the fun and excitement, enthusiasm in the hobby is starting, the fire is starting to go out. Again, that's why I make these videos. I don't make these videos to brag, or I don't want nobody to be jealous of John Boy whatsoever. I just want y'all to see how passionate I am and excited I am to save history and preserve the honor of the memory of those that served and everything. But I just want to know you guys' thoughts. Is the collecting hobby, is it slowing down? Is it heading in the wrong direction? What are your thoughts on this? And again, a lot of you might want to consider starting to sell some stuff, because again, what's the point of having rooms full of stuff just piled all on top of each other in storage totes or garbage bags, whatever? Because might claim to be a collector, but that's not collecting. It's just not. It's hoarding. I watch the TV show Hoarders and stuff, and there's really not much difference than that, unfortunately. Some people hoard random stuff in their house, like pizza boxes, or they hoard books or furniture or whatever. And then you got military people who hoard military stuff thinking it's a collection and they're a true collector, but you're not. That person's not a true collector. Sometimes you do have to maybe have stuff kind of off in a corner for a while. Maybe you're rearranging a man cave, or you're having an addition added onto your house, or whatever it may be, and you just need a little time for those items to be out of place or not on display right now, while you're in the transition of doing what you're going to do for your man cave. But again, just think about those that are going to come after us, or maybe that are wanting to start now, that or maybe they're intimidated by trying to start collecting military stuff because they get shocked by asking prices. I mean, realistically, most people ask way too much for the stuff they're trying to sell. I mean, it's okay to maybe start a little high and maybe get talked down and work with the buyer, but a lot of the stuff I see at military shows, I mean, it's just outrageous, and stuff just sits there. Same thing like going to antique stores. You'll see the same stuff in the same booth for 15 years, same price. I mean, if you've set up at many military shows and you've had the same price on your items and nobody's bought much of anything, that means you're too high. Your prices are too high. It is what it is, you know. I mean, I know it might upset people. I'm not necessarily trying to, but if you've had the same items for 10 years and you set up at 50 military shows with the same price and nobody's bought that item, you're too high. You got to get over wanting to make a bunch of money or whatever. You got to get over that and come down on your price and sell it and get fresh inventory. That can be another thing that can discourage people from wanting to attend military shows or collect, because they see the same sellers with the same stuff year after year after year, knowing that they're hard-headed, they're not going to mark their prices down, and so they don't even want to fool with coming to shows no more. They don't want to pay the fee to come to enter in, the admission fee. They don't want to stand in a long line or pay to park, because it's going to be the same handful of people there traveling all over or maybe even local to them with the same stuff. And so they get discouraged from collecting. So I just want to know you guys' opinion. Like, what are your thoughts on the military collecting hobby? Do you think it's slowing down? Do you think it's going to pick back up and there's going to be like a new fire or excitement lit under collectors, and attendance will be up and people will start buying a lot more and everything like they used to? What are your thoughts on that? I appreciate you guys for supporting me. Thank you so much for watching all my videos and encouraging me to do what I do. I appreciate you very much. God bless all of you, and I'll be getting back to you soon. So thank you.